Well, it may officially be fall out there. We don't really feel it, right, with
No.
temperatures in the 90s, but Georgia heats up, and it has been for the last while now. If you spend your time outdoors, you know that heat can catch up to you.
Now, researchers at Georgia Tech say dehydration can do more than just throw us off our game physically. It can actually make it hard to think straight. The Fox Medical Team's Beth Galvin is here now to talk about it.
And Sine and Tom, most of us know that it feels like to get dehydrated. There's that headache and that fatigue and that really off feeling. But tech researchers wanted to learn more about how dehydration affects our brains. And what they found is eye-opening. We know we should be drinking more water. The experts recommend 6 to 8 glasses a day, but many of us don't. And it may be time to rethink that habit because Georgia Tech researchers say dehydration can do a real number on our brains. To find out how fluid loss affects us mentally, Dr. Minnie Millard-Stafford, director of Tech's Exercise Physiology Lab, and Matt Whitbrod, a postdoctoral fellow at Emory University's Department of Psychiatry, teamed up. They studied 13 volunteers who worked out, sweated quite a bit, and then took a test, pushing the same button over and over for about 20 minutes.
And it was pretty boring. So it also stressed their ability to maintain attention over that 20 minutes.
And the researchers found that even being mildly dehydrated or losing about 2% of their body weight caused the volunteers to make more mistakes.
So a 200-pound athlete who loses 4 pounds, which is pretty easily done in the summer in Atlanta, that under those conditions, if they don't rehydrate, they would probably have an impact on their mental performance.
Just exercising alone in the Georgia heat dropped the volunteer score by 8%, and fluid loss doubled the effect, dropping their ability to pay attention by 16%.
16% decrease in performance is a pretty big decrease, and especially if you're in an occupation where it takes one mistake to have pretty catastrophic consequences.
And there's another reason to drink up. Scans showed changes in the brains of the dehydrated volunteers. Their thalamus, responsible for relaying sensory information in the brain, shrank, while their fluid-filled areas, known as ventricles, expanded.
Every person who's dehydrated had their ventricles expanding, so we know it's happening.
So what's the takeaway? Millard-Stafford and Whitbrod recommend drinking water before and after your workouts to stay on top of your game physically and mentally.
Also making sure your urine doesn't get too bright gold and concentrated. That's another great way to understand if you're probably getting sufficient fluid.
And researchers say it's also important to get the right fluid balance because if you overhydrate, drinking too much water can actually be dangerous too. Tom and Sine, that's going to be a more rare scenario that we might see in like these ultra athletes, may drink too much water. Most people can really go by their thirst, I think, but it's important. You guys were saying when we were in the store,
We don't drink enough water.
It's an important reminder.
It's
Gotta
hard
do
to
it, like,
remember.
conscientiously, right?
Yeah.
All right. Important information, Beth.
Thanks.
Thanks.